Now that you know how to create files and directories, you have to know how to manage them. Files don't always stay where you first put them. You'll need to make copies for backups, move files to different locations, and rename things as projects evolve. In this lesson, we'll cover two essential commands, CP for copying and MV for moving and renaming. System admins copy config files before making changes. Developers move files between project directories. Security analysts copy evidence files to preserve originals. DevOps engineers move deployment artifacts to the right locations. Let's master these everyday tasks in IT. So the CP command copies files and directories, and the basic syntax is just CP base, and then you put your source in there, where it's coming from, and then you put where it's going to. So you're just saying copy from here to there, and it just requires that space in between. Very, very simple. So see the example of copying a single file? That is what it was named for copying it. And the second one is the name that you're giving the destination file. In this case, it's in the same directory. So now you have two files with identical contents in that same directory. Now, alternatively, you can put CP and then your file name and then the destination location. And in that case, the file name stays the same, but you just have a copy of it in that destination location. So if you want the name to be different in the location that you're putting it, the destination location, then you can just add a / at the end of the location, destination, and the file name. Make sure to include the .file extension. So if it's a text file or a PDF or a docx or an Excel, etc. And that will copy and rename it in one step and move it into that other directory location. If we think about Windows, this is similar to copying files in File Explorer like Control-C or Control-V, or using copy, the full word, in command prompt. The Linux CP command is considered more flexible and scriptable though. You can also copy multiple files to a directory. See the example code here on how to do that. In this case, putting the file name with the space, the next file name, the next one, and then the destination location will effectively put all three files, the copies of those, into that destination location. It's important to note, of course, though, when copying multiple files, destination just has to be a directory, not a file name. You can also use wildcards. So let's say the example on the screen here, you see that asterisk right before txt. That's going to copy all the files that end with .txt from your current directory into that destination location. You can also use the wildcard to say you want all files that start with a specific set of characters, like a word, like this shows report and an underscore. So everything that starts with report and underscore will then get copied into the destination location. It's really important, though, to note that by default, CP overwrites existing files without asking. So if you say copy this file and make it this name, but that name of that file already exists where you're telling it to copy it to, it's going to just silently replace the contents of that file. The old content is just gone. No warning, no confirmation. So let's say you spent hours customizing a configuration file, and you accidentally do that, you're going to be really frustrated. So you want to use the I flag, the interactive mode, to force the copy operation to ask for confirmation before overwriting. To make that easier, some system administrators add an alias so that anytime they use the CP command, it automatically reads it as CP-I with that I flag. Now, just by default, copy only copies files. You can copy directories, but if you just use CP, you won't be able to copy the directory. You'll get an error. If you want to copy a directory and everything inside of it, you need to use the R flag, that recursive flag. That's going to copy all the files and subdirectories to the destination location. That R flag tells copy to recurse into directories, meaning go inside them, copy everything you find, and include nested subdirectories, everything. And when you copy a file, the copy gets a new timestamp, which is the current time that you've copied it. And it might have different ownership if you're copying between locations with different permissions. If you want to preserve the original file's attributes, you need to use the P flag. You can see the example code on the screen. It will preserve modification time, when the file was actually last changed, or whatever the last modification time was before the copy, the access time, the ownership if you have permission to set it, and the permissions. For backups, you want to preserve that original metadata, so that's really important. And you'll often combine the flags. A common combination is RP or RPI. With RPI, you're doing it recursively, preserving attributes and interactive so that you ask before overwriting. Let's think of some scenarios just to help reinforce this in real-world terms for your thinking and learning. If you're backing up a config file before editing, let's say you're about to modify the Nginx configuration. First, you want to make a backup. You can use this code on the screen, or if you want that to have a date stamp, use this code on the screen. If something goes wrong, you can restore the backup. Another scenario, creating a template from an existing file. Let's say you have something that's working, so you want to use that as templates for new services. So you'd use code like this on the screen, and now edit new site while keeping the original intact. Another scenario is archiving a project. Before making major changes to a project, you could use this code. Notice you're using the R and the P combined. You're going from a directory to the directory, and you've got your dynamic date stamp. As part of a deployment script, you might be distributing files to multiple servers, and you want to copy configurations. This code will work for that. Notice you're using the P flag to preserve the metadata. Perhaps you're collecting files for an investigation as a security analyst, preserving evidence, and you want to preserve everything about them. You can use this code for that. The P ensures the original timestamps are preserved, and that's critical for forensics. And then you're using the RP to make sure you're getting everything. Now the MV, the move command, moves files and directories. But MV is also how you rename files in Linux. There's no separate rename command for basic renaming. Moving a file to a new name in the same directory is effectively renaming it. So see a basic moving command here on the screen. Just got the MV, the file name, and then the directory path, the destination path. And it just moves the file. Rather than copying it, it moves it. So the original file is no longer in its original location. You still just have one file, not two, with move. Whereas with copy, you would have two. So just Windows comparison, like cutting and pasting. Or you can use the full move command and command prompt. In Windows, that's the full MOVE, whereas in Linux, it's just MV. Now to use move to rename files, you can stay in the same location, the same directory, and you can tell it to move. You put the name it is currently with a space, and then you put the name that you want it to be. Notice, of course, that we are always including the file extensions, that .txt, or could be any other file extension, whatever the file actually is. So that is a rename. Moving the file from this name to that name is just renaming the file. You can also move and rename in the same command. And that's similar. It's the same as basically the way we just looked at a little bit ago, how you can copy and rename a file. It's the same thing, except for just using the MV, and you're just keeping one, and you're actually moving it so it's no longer in the original directory. And just like copy, you can move multiple files to a directory just by putting those multiple file names there and then sending them to that destination location. And you can also use the wildcard strict with move, just like with copy. Now, for moving directories, move is not exactly like copy because move works without needing a special flag. You can move an entire directory and all of its contents without needing the recursive flag. But you do still have the overwrite danger. Move will overwrite existing files without warning. So you still want to use the interactive, the I flag for moving. And that way you'll be asked to confirm before it overwrites. Now, if you want to be even safer, you can say no overwriting ever, which is called no clobber, and that's the N flag, the lowercase n. If the destination already exists, move simply does nothing. It doesn't overwrite, it doesn't ask, it just skips the operation. So if you're in a script where you don't want an interactive prompt to delay anything or interrupt the script, but you also don't want to accidentally destroy files, you just use the N flag. So if you're organizing files into directory and you've downloaded a bunch of files and want to organize them, you can use code like this on the screen. If you're taking a system out of production location and you want to disable a site, you can use this code you see on the screen. Adding the .disabled to the name effectively disables it, and Nginx won't process it. So you'll still be keeping the file available if you need to rename it, if you need to re-enable it later. If you need to rotate log files, just do simple log rotation with this renaming command you see on the screen. The old log will now have the new name and a fresh log file is created. You've got the move command there and the touch command for the file creation. Let's say you're reorganizing a project's directory structure. You can do that with code like you see here on the screen. Notice we're using the P flag, the wildcard, and on the third line, we're moving multiple files at once. If you need to archive completed projects, you can move a finished project to an archive location using this code. If you want to fix a typo in a file name, you can do a simple rename to fix it like this code using the mv command. So let's just verify the distinction between CP and mv is completely clear. CP creates a duplicate. The original file remains in place. You now have 2 copies of the data. It uses more disk space because 2 copies exist, and you need to use the R flag for directories. But for move, which is also move and rename NV, it relocates or renames the original. The original is gone from the original location. Only 1 copy of the data exists. It does not use additional disk space within the same file system, and it works on directories without the R flag, doesn't need special flag to work. So you see the quick recap of when to use each. Now within the same file system, MV is almost instantaneous regardless of file size. The reason for that is because it's not actually copying data, it's just updating the directory entry to point to the new location. So it doesn't matter how big the file is. However, CP always has to copy the actual data, so large files do take longer. Now, if you're moving a file to a different file system, a different disk partition, then MV actually does have to copy the data and then delete the original. So in that case, it does take longer. And in that case, the length of time it takes also is dependent on the file size. So some common patterns you see here, creating backups with timestamps. You see this code, which will create backups with precise timestamps. Before editing any important file, take a look at this code. Think of moving versus copying for the same task and ask yourself, do I need it in the old location anymore? Might I need the original? When in doubt, just copy it instead of moving it, because you can always delete it later, the original. And using dot for current directory, remember from the earlier lessons, dot means current directory. So this can be useful with CP and MV. Notice the dot at the end of this command line. This will copy the file to your current directory because here you haven't had to put any path in there. All you put was the dot. And that's saying from this directory, copy it to the current directory that I'm in. And you don't have to type that out. Just put that one period, that dot. So that's a lot easier than having to type out your current directory path. And you avoid worrying about typos and things like that way too. It's just going to move the file to wherever you currently are if you use it for move, or copy the file to wherever you currently are if you use it for copy, CP. Common mistakes are forgetting the R when copying directories, so obviously use the R. Accidental overwrites, use your interactive mode, and check if the destination exists first by using the ls command. Another mistake people make is confusing the order, the source versus the destination. Remember, the source comes first, the destination comes second. But sometimes that people are thinking of so many different things, it's easy to get confused, get your wires crossed. So you think of it as copy this to there and move this to there, this to there. And then people also make the mistake of moving when they meant to copy. Sometimes people will make the mistake of matching too much when they're using wildcards. So if you use just that asterisk, the star, for your source, then it's going to take everything in the current directory. You want to make sure your wildcards are specific enough. You might end up in a situation going, why is this taking so long? And then all of a sudden you realize you just used the asterisk and missed the rest or things like that. So you just overpicked, and that can be annoying.